Why is dirty ripped clothes so expensive? Clothes like the Balenciaga graffiti sweats that go for $3,000 and literally any pair of Amiri jeans that hover around $2,000.
Jacket.
Amiri.
Why you got so much Amiri today?
Cause Amiri.
And talking about jeans, they're always made from a higher quality denim. If they're distressed, well, because they have to be, or it would just tear off in the wash and be completely unwearable. If you have a pair of ripped jeans from H&M and a pair of ripped jeans from Balenciaga, the H&M ones are gonna last 2 times in the wash and then start ripping and just look terrible. This is because when you make distressed clothing, it has to be used with special machinery and even made by hand and laborers who do every single stitch. Hence the high price point. There's somebody in the factory making thousands of pair of pants a day. This originally started in the 80s with people wearing clothes with little tears and frays on their pants, and then it boomed in the 90s with the popularity of grunge fashion. And even nowadays, it's kind of like a status symbol to have a high quality designer item with low maintenance, like a Golden Goose sneaker. They use the best quality leather, but when you buy the shoe, it's already ripped, it's already dirty, so if anything happens to it, you're fine. Like if you're wearing a pair of jeans like this that cost $2,500 and you get another little rip in it or you spill something on it, it doesn't matter. And some of the craziest distressed pieces I've seen are something like these Margiela shoes, the little glue shoes that look basically unwearable, or even the Balenciaga Afterworld denim. But now that you know what you know about distressed clothing, would you wear it?
Imagine paying $1,200 for a pair of sneakers that looks like they survived the apocalypse. My dear, welcome to modern fashion, where looking effortless is suddenly worth a fortune. But is this the pinnacle of style? Or are we all just being scammed into buying dirty clothes? Let's break it down. If you are new here, hi, my name is Caroline, your internet bestie who just loves to yap and use my love of commentary to give glory to God and uplift other women. Everything I say in this space is 100% my opinion, so if you agree or disagree with anything I say, leave a comment down below because I love learning and growing with you all. Let's get into it. The rise of effortless luxury, because we need to know, where did this all start? Once upon a time, luxury meant clean lines, precise tailoring, and flawless craftsmanship. Now, it's about grunge, distressed, and worn out looking clothes that cost more than your rent. But how did we get here? According to fashion historian Valerie Steele, author of the Berg Companion to Fashion, designers have historically pushed the boundaries of what is considered stylish, often borrowing from countercultures to shock audiences and redefine elegance. Oh, they redefined it all right. The ugly trend. Why we're being sold worn out clothes.
Can we just talk about how these shoes are being sold at Nordstrom for $980? Before y'all come for me, let me explain. I love it when fashion brands step out of the box and experiment with new things, but this honestly to me is just kind of insulting. There are people out in this world that have shoes like this because they cannot afford a new pair of shoes. At this point, I literally believe that this is a social experiment. I just don't think that something like this should be a trend literally ever, and I just think it holds a deeper rooted symbolism.
I don't know if anybody has seen the video of Doechii walking up to some award show or a party or whatever, but all I could look at was, what is this woman wearing? The conversation behind this look was insane because portion of the audience was like, no, honestly, all of the audience was like, no, this ain't it. This is just not it. Like, I don't know if it was a statement. I don't know what she was going for, but it wasn't giving. And it wasn't that she was showing her body, because there's elegant ways to do that, but it was like almost like it was paying homage to like a stripped down black woman, like the wig cap and then like the barely wearing any clothes, and then like it just something about it gay dirty. And I'm like, I know she not dirty. So I didn't like how it was being advertised, but you know, artists, I guess they're unique to their art and there's reasons for why they do something, but ultimately art is supposed to impact. And if your impact is not curating in the way that you want, then you've missed the ball, you've missed the point. And I don't know what her impact was with this outfit or her artist or designer's impact was for this outfit, but it wasn't hitting the way I assume they, unless they just wanted her to be talked about, then boom, they got what they wanted. But if they wanted to make some sort of impactful meaning towards this outfit and this look, it didn't hit. It didn't hit. This brings us to our ugly trend. Why are celebrities uplifting this? Why is worn out clothes the new look? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the ugly trend. Oversized silhouettes, holes in clothes, pre-dirtied sneakers. Fashion is recycling the messy aesthetic every few years, making us believe it's fresh and new. But is this truly fashion, or are we just guinea pigs in an industry experiment? I think it's the latter. Like, get into this. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research in 2021 found that consumers are more likely to associate high-priced items with exclusivity and status, even when the product itself appears low quality or distressed. A lot of these luxury brands are catching on to the fact that our clout sells, period. And why do we need to upkeep the expensive quality of our items or our clothes? And I'm not trying to say this is for everything, but in certain items in clothing, yeah, a lot of designers go polyester, and they cheap out on the bags. Like, the bag is just the dupe, basically. Sorry to tell you. And they sell that and put their personal brand on it, and they sell it for thousands and hundreds and thousands, and they can get away with it. It's kind of like that story about fish theory. There are so many fish in this world that are actually considered luxury or hard to obtain, and so the price of the fish is higher. But what a lot of people don't talk about is that nobody actually knows the taste between different fish. So what a lot of people started doing at certain restaurants was selling these high-priced fish that they advertise as this exclusive, very hard to catch fish, and really just using any old fish that maybe was similar in taste. And most consumers, unless you're like a fish expert, didn't know the difference. What makes you think designers aren't doing the same thing? Ultimately, it's kind of like celebrity culture too. I think Cardi B came out a couple years ago with the interview where she was saying, you know, yeah, I can afford designer, I can afford all these luxury clothing, but I shop on Fashion Nova. And they were trying to figure out, oh, why does she shop on Fashion Nova? Because she said, either way, I'm gonna get the looks, I'm gonna get the pictures, and either way, I'm gonna look good. So it doesn't really matter what I put on, it's how I look. And ultimately, that's so true, because there are just certain artists like Taylor Swift. If she was wearing a fake bag, nobody would think it's fake. Just nobody, not a one person. Even people who have an eye for that stuff. Clout sells, but everything that glitz is in gold. But my dear besties, we need to ask ourselves, when does fashion cross the line?
There ain't no way y'all can convince me y'all out here paying $600 to $900 for a pair of dirty shoes straight out the box. That's crazy work. Listen, y'all want y'all shoes to look like this? Give me $30. There's a public baseball field. I'll run a few bases for y'all. In about 30 minutes, your shoes gonna look like this. One, this look like the New Balance 608. And two, this look just like the shoe my granddad used to cut grass in on the weekends. This right here ain't nothing but a super skate shoe. If you want these, you can just get on super.com and get that shoe for half the price. This right here is for the people who don't like to clean their shoes. No more sole white, no more saran wrap, and an ultraviolet light. You don't need that no more. Just wear your shoes dirty. You want feet problems? You want to be flat-footed? Buy these, because you know these ain't got no arch support. Motherfuckers that. I promise you, y'all, just send me any shoe you got, and I'm going to go play kickball in them, and they going to come out looking just like this. It's going to be an original.
Here's where it gets weird. When a wealthy person wears oversized, ripped clothes, it's high fashion. When someone struggling wears the same thing, society sees it differently. There's a classist double standard happening here, and it raises some really big questions. Designers have been defending their distressed collections down, like they are going to the grave with this stuff, okay? Here's the tea. In an article for The Guardian, fashion critic Vanessa Friedman notes that high fashion has a long history of appropriating working class aesthetics, often repackaging poverty chic in ways that are inaccessible to the communities they're inspired by.
There was an entire show inspired by homelessness. In 2010, Vivienne Westwood did a fashion show called Homeless Chic. Definitely curious to hear all of your opinions, because the entire show was inspired by homeless fashion. Immediately after its release, critics started comparing it to Mugatu's Dare Lee collection in Zoolander. It can be funny sometimes how life imitates art, and in the film, this is played for purely comedic and satirical purposes.
On one hand, this does seem pretty tone deaf to me, but there is another side of this. In interviews, she was defending her show by saying she wanted privileged people in the fashion world to engage with homeless people.
Do you know that Balenciaga drew inspiration from a homeless man? Meet Slavik, a Ukrainian man whose unique style caught the eye of photographer Yurko Diakishin. Slavik never wore the same outfit twice, and Yurko was so impressed that he created an Instagram page called Slavik's Fashion to showcase his looks. The page went viral, and soon Balenciaga began borrowing Slavik's style for their runways, often without giving him credit. The buzz even reached Vogue, which expressed interest in interviewing him. However, in January 2000, Slavik disappeared, and no one has seen him since.
Like, fashion critics are literally telling on the designers. And we're just ignoring this? Yeah. Maybe it's something to think about. I don't know. I'm saying maybe it's something to think about, but ultimately we have to ask ourselves, why are people falling for it? That's the main question. So why do people buy into this? The simple answer is exclusivity. The more outrageous and ugly a design, the more it signals you're part of the elite. It's not just about fashion, it's about power and status. It has quite literally been proven that high-end brands intentionally create ugly or unconventional styles to disrupt mainstream aesthetics and establish themselves as trendsetters. It's all a game. They ultimately want to know who will stand out the most while sticking within their creative freedom, whilst being, I don't know, like within their brand. It's just such an interesting thing, honestly. What do you guys think? The future of fashion, will it get worse? Or will we wake up? Will this trend ever die? Or will it evolve into something even more ridiculous? Some people believe we're reaching the peak of the dirty fashion trend, and soon people will demand authenticity over gimmicks. What do you think? So ask yourself, at what point does fashion cross the line from innovative to absurd? And are we actually making a statement with these trends, or just playing into another industry cash grab? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But that's all from me. Thanks for chatting, besties. Talk to you soon. Do you guys see how I strategically wore a little bit of designer? Just a little bit, you know. Yeah.